What up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the podcast. Today, we're going to be discussing the recent Still Wave patch notes and giving our initial impressions on just everything in them, as well as the new Defender Melusi and the new attack race. I'm Ryan.
I'm Kyle.
And I'm offered.
Let's begin. All right, so first off, we'll talk about the. Should we talk about the new attacker and defender in general, and then we'll go through all the updated changes?
Yeah, let's just get them out the way.
All right, which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's start with the first news that actually broke. Let's start about Melusi. What do you think about Melusi?
You want me to go first? So for Melusi, I would say she's gonna experience the same. She's gonna experience the same problem that Jaeger ran into, and I don't know how after all these 5 years the devs haven't learned this problem, giving defenders gadgets that you could just set in and forget it. She literally fits that exact same thing Jaeger has, where she can get, and even if she dies in the first second of the round, she places all of her gadgets and she's still getting insane value out of them. I also think her gadget is very oppressive, and even though they've toned it down a lot, you could still get so much done with it. And the combination of having a solid gun and 3 speed with the C4, her roaming potential is also through the roof. I think she's the best roamer in the game.
She makes Vigil useless completely. It's crazy.
I think she makes every roamer useless. I don't think you could. I don't think you could opt to pick a visual, Cav, Oryx, anyone to roam just because she doesn't. They don't bring nowhere near the amount of utility she does, and the C4 on top of it.
Why do you specifically say Vigil though? Because Vigil still has his role. Like he's still good.
Yeah, but it's just the team utility Melusi brings. What other roamer first off has C4? Not many, if not at all. Plus on top of that, you have a utility that you could literally set and forget it, and 2 minutes later into the round, it could impact and change the game. That thing can make it impossible just to plant. And it's so annoying pushing against it too. It literally will frustrate the opponent, and you get in their head with it too.
Yeah, it's really impossible to win gunfights. It puts you at severe disadvantage when you are in the Melusi.
Honestly,
And they know you're gonna be there because of that obnoxious noise in the mix.
yeah. Honestly, I think it makes Ashe and Zofia even more of a must pick. Because they're the only people that could really deal with it at range, unless you could frag it out, but that's also really hard to do unless you time your frags perfectly or they're sitting in like the middle of a hallway or something, you know? But otherwise,
Yeah.
if you don't have a Zofia or Ashe, it's going to make it so hard to deal with them. Yeah, but compared to other defenders, do you think she's top of the top?
Oh, for sure.
I think she could be up there with Echo with the best defender.
Yeah. And now people are even starting to ban her, just like Eka. It's crazy.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if her ban rate is just as high as
Yeah.
Echo's,
Yeah.
which
Mm.
is crazy to see. Honestly, I think she's stronger than Ella on release and Lion on release when they first came out. I think she will break the game.
I've never been around for that, so how was it for them? Like, what was it that made them bad?
Ella, her gun brokenly strong, as well as her you couldn't even play against her gadget, not being able to do anything, and have no fighting chance. And the thing with Ella's gadgets, they could be anywhere that you could destroy them, or that you can't really destroy them. It's so hard to see them. As well as her gun was super strong, and she's a
Yeah.
solid roamer. And then for Lion, do you remember? I don't know if you played Siege when his ability used to not just make a red dot above someone, but it made a red outline around their body.
No, I wasn't around for that.
Yeah, but if you used to, well, the line scanners you used to be able to use, there wasn't as much of a gap between using them, so you could use really spam them. Also, to use the first, or no, you could use the first one instantly. But it lasted longer, the duration. That's what it was. You had to stand still for longer. But if you moved, you would have a whole red outline around your body, so you literally see exactly where they are to wallbang them.
Dang. And Belusi's stronger than both of them at their prime.
I think so. I don't think there's. I mean, those were oppressive, but Malusi's just as oppressive. When you're pushing a point, you would literally decide to go a different doorway if you get if I have a Banshee on the doorway, making me not go in, I would want to go around to a different doorway. If you have to funnel through a small doorway and you're getting slowed and a noise is going off while you're trying to push through it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're
Mm-hmm.
screwed.
It's tough. It
It's
makes it
over.
so much harder to win a gunfight because they just gives them so much information and such an advantage. And it's not like she has like her gadget's super strong, and then it's not like she has a disadvantage. She doesn't have to stay alive for the gadget to work. She places it and it's there. It's not like she has a terrible gun or terrible second utility or a 1 speed. She literally has everything she needs. There's not one flaw. Even if she only had a pistol, I think she would be super, super broken. You know what I mean, though. That might be a little bit too far, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
She's just too complete.
I agree. Yeah.
After the test server ended, they decided to take deployable shield off Melusi and switch it to C4, which I can understand why they did it, because they don't want to have too much deployable shields on defense. But C4 is really, really strong. If she's got everything complete, I thought they would give her like a bad secondary gadget. Like if she just had, I mean, not like barbed wire is not bad, but if they did like barbed wire and impacts, I mean, no, impacts are strong. If they did like bulletproof camera and barbed wire, something like that, I don't know. But you think they would just to give her C4 so she with the roamer is just too strong. All right, so next up we're gonna talk about Ace. How do you feel about Ace, Ryan? What's your initial thoughts on him?
I like Ace. I think he's a great operator. Seems to follow the trend of a person that can maybe do a little too much, like with what we've seen with Malusi. I don't think he's as bad. Like I don't think they gave him too much like they did with the defender. But he has an interesting role in it. His gadget is unique. It's fun to play around with. Has a lot of uses. So I think Ace overall is just a good addition,
Mm.
a good utility.
To me, the only thing I have against him though is that his Sigma, yeah, his Sigma charges are very, very slow to activate. You know what I mean? It takes a long time to get all your Sigmas down and to open up all the area. It does, you know what I mean, compared to all the other hard breachers.
Yeah, but I mean that is part of the balance, right? Because he has the potential to get out.
3 chunks of a
You know,
wall.
yeah, 3
Mm.
chunks of like just
He also
it's
is,
an
though,
understandable counter.
very limited in the fact that he doesn't get the ability to get hatches like any other hard breacher
But
can.
let's think about this. Like he has a high potential for breaching. His ability can be used to get out gadgets like deployable shields or castle walls. And on top of that, he has one of the best guns in the game. And he has smokes. So I think for given how much of what he is and what he can do, his Selma mines being a little in line, I guess. What gosh, I don't even know what to say.
Mm-hmm.
Let
Is
me
someone
see.
mine's not being perfect? Makes sense.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, I agree with you. He's perfect on the gun category. He's got smoke, something no other hard breachers ever had. He's got good speed. The only thing that he's not perfect would be his hard breaching, because his hard breaching does lack stuff. He can't get hatches. It is really slow. It could easily, if you're tricking, you have a lot more time to trick the wall before they get the whole thing open. But there's also a lot of cool things that you could do with them, like, I mean, you could spam them to be able to open a lot at the same time. There's a lot of different things you could do with him.
Yeah, it changes the dynamic
Yeah, it's
a
something
lot.
new into the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a little weird though, seeing a lot of more hard breachers than you normally do right now
Yeah,
because of
I've
Ace.
seen
Really?
teams of all hard breaches.
Yeah.
Everyone's bringing the normal hard breachers for the map plus Ace on top of it, so you definitely get a mix of everything when it comes to this first week of Ace.
Now, for the traditional walls that you'll normally push in, like let's say garage and chalet, or on bank, the walls, the skylight walls of CEO, where you'll traditionally have a thermite. Do you think that Ace could be used as like a replacement for thermite in those situations? Like,
If you could get
how
all
good of thermite's role can he do?
in the situation, I mean, if you could get all three stomas down on that one wall right there, you're gonna open up a hole that's good enough size that makes it, easy to get through. So I don't think in that case it's bad. Also, then it makes it so you don't have to bring a smoke grenade. The thing I like about it is, even if he's slightly worse at getting the wall open, he will have smoke grenades, so you don't need to bring a Capital. You don't need to bring anyone that could help block lines of sight when you're executing, which means you could bring an extra Zofia or Ash to be able to deal with the Melusi charges and things like that. Deal with the extra utility that defenders have. Because as we
Yeah.
know, defenders have a lot of utility in this game. So I think overall, having him kind of being versatile in the sense that he kind of fits both role of having the smoke grenade plus having a strong gun and can do some hard breaching works out very well. Because even if you bring your traditional hard breach you would bring, having him as a secondary one, if you lose your hard breacher is not bad. Also being able to get a different set of walls out is not bad, while still having the smoke grenades to help you execute on point. Do you think there's ever a time where you would want to use the breach charges on him, or you think it's mostly smoke grenades for him?
I think that you should never be picking breach charges his with using him at all. Like
Mm.
being a hard breacher and having smokes is way too overpowered. I don't even think you should have that in the first place.
Mm.
And it's
It
Yeah.
was kind of
that
weird how
was
they
that
decided to
was
give him smokes.
yeah, I and that was a big thing that was talked about. I know, with hard breachers having smokes.
Yeah.
How that's a dumb idea, and then they just went ahead and did it. Uh,
Yeah,
it's
no, for
crazy
the
to me.
most part, really hard breachers just get flashes and claymores. If not, then breach charges. But for them to do something different is a little crazy. I agree though. I don't think the breach charge should be used at much, if not at all, because I wouldn't want Ace to be doing vertical play. I would mostly want him doing horizontal play because he's not good at getting those hatches. So why do you really want him going above? But
Yeah, that is another
mm,
thing too.
so that's why I think he can never use it, that he shouldn't be using the breach charges. But it's honestly crazy to see another person with the AK, especially a 2-speed,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and with actual
I think
normal sight. All right, let's
I
move
feel like that
on.
was
Let's move on to the
something that caught everybody off guard.
next new thing that was added in this update, which we're gonna talk about the new metal detectors they added. That's what they're called, right? Yeah, metal detectors.
Proximity mines.
The proximity mines, yes.
Now, I thought they were going to be a lot stronger before this came out, but after like testing it myself, I don't think that did that. I don't know. I don't think they did that strong.
The
Maybe I just haven't learned how to
radius.
use it that well, but from what I've seen, it's actually kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, that is true.
To me,
The radius isn't wide on it. That's one big thing.
I think the radius is pretty solid, but the one thing I think about them is you can't really put it on. I wouldn't put it close really on the point, because once the beeper starts going off, if they're already on the point, you know what I mean, you're not going to have much time to react anyways. So I think it's more beneficial for putting it slightly off the point and getting that intel on where they're pushing, knowing that there's someone pushing this way. You know what I mean? Outside on a doorway, coming down the hallway to the point or something like that. So then you have an idea. Okay, we know at least one person's over here, and even if they stop and back off, we know they're still there. It's like a free camera without having to look at the camera.
Yeah.
I don't think they're as strong as we expected, but I think they're pretty solid if you play around them.
I
I
mean,
think,
even if you don't hear the noise, it pops up on the side of your screen.
yeah, I think more and more people will start to get better spots with them over time. I think people will come out with spots that will be really beneficial and hard to get out, as well as giving a lot of intel. But I think overall they're not bad. All right, so we'll talk about each of the operators that got the new proximity mine, and if we think it will see play on them and how it will affect them. So first up, we got Castle. He lost his impact grenades for the proximity mine.
Yeah, not sure how I feel about that. So far, not really liking it though. I think it's actually more of a nerf.
Yeah.
To
I
me,
Even
agree.
though Castle can make its own or make its own rotates, those impacts really helped out a lot.
yeah.
Reduced a lot of the setup time.
Well, I also saw it in places you play Castle. If you wanted to impact trick a hatch or impact trick a wall, you could still do that with the impacts, but now you no longer have that ability to do it. Impacts are just so versatile with anything you want to do. So it's a little weird to see them gone, but at the same time, I can understand why they took it away. He had a lot of utility, so even though the proximity mine is a lot more utility, so we'll see. It was interesting because I didn't expect to see it out of him because we've seen Castle's play go up more and more since he's got the super shorty, you know?
I mean, he already has like a lot to his kit, so
Mm,
it's kind of crazy. On top of that, they gave him these proximity mines.
yeah.
It's interesting.
Alright, so the next one up is Cav. She lost her bulletproof camera for the proximity mines.
That
I think that's a good one for Cav.
Yeah, I think
yeah,
it was.
It's really strong.
I don't think it gives enough to Cav to make her
Yeah,
good
yeah,
enough, but
definitely.
I think it pushes her in the right direction because the one thing Cav doesn't have is any utility, and it gives a little bit more team utility. She has something to bring to the team, as in proximity mines, the proximity alarms. So it's something. It's something to help there.
yeah.
So a little bit of buff to Cav. Now the next one is Goyo. He loses impacts for proximity mine. How do you feel about this one? He
Mm,
still has a C4, so I don't think it's
mm,
that big of a hit to him.
Most of the time, people are just gonna be using the C4 then.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a big impactful change to him. So we'll say that one we don't think it's gonna impact big time. Then we'll move on to Rook being next, and that is his barbed wire got replaced with them. I think this is good for Rook because right now Rook's really only picked when you need an impact hole because he's got the impacts over Doc. No one ever, if you were gonna use barbed wire, most of the time you just pick Doc. So this gives Rook an opportunity to have something over Doc something over Doc that Doc doesn't have.
Yeah, I think I love that change. It helps differentiate between Rook and Doc, sets them apart just a little bit more, so that you
Mm.
actually have a reason to pick Rook over Doc.
All right, next we'll go to Wamai. Now Wamai is just like the Goyo. I feel like this won't make much of a change. His barbed wire was replaced for the proximity alarm. I feel like most people are still gonna always go with the shield. The shield is just too strong. I couldn't
Yeah,
see anyone picking the alarm over the shield. You agree with
yeah,
that?
I agree.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Next up we got Chichanka. He lost his deployable shield for the proximity.
Tachanka got it.
Yeah, he lost his deployable shield for the proximity alarms, which honestly I think that's
I
a nerf
don't.
to him.
That is a nerf to him.
I think the only way you could actually make Chichanka good is to have a deployable shield in front of your turret.
Wait. Sorry. They took away a shield for it too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's a giant nerf. He always plays around his deployable shield, like
yeah. But
setting up the turret behind it. I don't understand.
they might also be setting that up for the future for when he gets
I mean, he
reworked.
gets his rework, but I mean,
Yeah,
that's when. Do we know when in the future? Like that could be any
it's
time
sometime this year.
this
It's
year.
in,
Yeah.
it's part of year 5. It's probably will be next season or the season after. We'll see. But
Well, if it's not the next season, then they really set him up for
I mean, he's already got no
a
play, so
huge. I mean, yeah, I know.
mixing it up can't hurt. Then next up is Mira. She lost her barbed wire for proximity alarm. You guys think that will affect her a lot?
Uh, no, I don't really think that.
No, I think most people will end up still using C4 to be able to combo the C4 throws from behind the mirror windows. So I don't think it will affect it a lot that much. Easy one, easy one. All right, let's move on to the next
Hmm.
one. Oryx loses his bulletproof camera to proximity alarm. I think this one is just like Cav, where Oryx doesn't bring much team utility at all. So having proximity alarm allows him to bring some sort of team utility now that he can at least throw down before he leaves and runs away. But I still don't think this makes Oryx good enough because I think he still doesn't bring enough utility, but it's at least something in the right direction.
Yeah,
You guys agree?
yeah, I agree. 100%.
All right, I like it. I like it. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the new shotgun, or sorry, not the new shotgun, but how Alibi and Miestra shotgun got changed in this patch. So what happened was their shotgun got switched from buck shells to slug shells, which is just like how Cade and Goyo's shotgun is. So you're able to get in longer range gunfights with it.
How was it offered whenever you used it? Because I know that you tried it out.
No, I actually haven't tried it out yet, but from all the videos that I've seen, I still don't think the shotgun is that good.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely wasn't good beforehand, and it still isn't that good.
Yeah, this thing has
They're
gotten.
they're kind of on par. They're getting there. They're getting there. That rate of fire increase at the end of the test server
Yeah.
made it slightly usable.
Yeah, they increased it back up to 300 rounds per minute, which I believe is what it was at when it first got released. And then they've increased its damage so many times, increased ADS speed. I just think it's crazy when they first changed this to slug rounds. They thought it was going to be so broken and they were going to have to nerf it, but it's just not enough. The one
Yeah.
thing, the only time I've ever saw anyone ever bring it was the fact that you could clear so much walls with that. You can open up so much walls with it, but now you can't because it's slug shell. So I just don't see any reason for it at all. It just makes no sense to me why you would ever bring it, especially for Miestra, because you're never gonna bring it over the LMG. And for Alibi, it just doesn't do enough damage.
Well, for Alibi, I mean, it can be a good alternative, but it does need to be viable first. And
Yeah, I
It's
just
just
don't think
really,
it's strong enough.
yeah. I was just about to say.
hmm Next one is Zofia and Ella. For them, their Grismont mines no longer decrease your sensitivity. You guys
I think this
think?
is a really good change for Ella and Sophia because she was way too oppressive. Both of them, they were both way too oppressive. I mean, for it even be such a nuisance on PC is just crazy to me.
Yeah, no,
Because then, yeah, like I understand for something like console, but it's I don't know. The impact that he even made on PC was wild.
yeah,
The only thing is though, is that Ella receiving this nerf is really bad for her because they've nerfed her to the ground already, and now they're just putting the cherry on top.
100% agree. She's
you
gotten a
mean as
lot.
far as their Scorpion
hmm
getting its
Well,
nerfs?
yes, of course,
Yeah,
because that recoil is crazy. And then,
I agree with you though. It is a harder hit for Ella, and I think she'll see less play than this will affect Sophia's play. But they are before this, they both are highly picked operators. I mean, Sophia is almost always a pick, and Ella's good enough to be picked. Just she's a decent meta operator. So I think this change was definitely needed, and it also is something very frustrating when you get hit with them and you really can't do anything at all. So I could definitely think the change was needed, and I think it will hurt Ella more. I agree with you because she has received a lot of nerfs throughout these last few years. So this might be this could push her below having a average pick rate. But I think Zofia, this won't affect that much. You'll still see her played as just as much. She could still stop bandit tricking. She could still do a lot of it with it. It's just gonna not make it as annoying when you get concussion right before they push. Because I think it just became like a form of crowd control in a FPS. which is crazy. Just the thought of that is crazy to be able to have crowd control in FPS.
I mean, look at Malusi.
Yeah, I know. I know, it's kind of the same exact thing. But being able to slow people, and it's like Clash 2. It's what's frustrating. Not be limiting what you can do like that. I guess that's gonna fall into the next person too. We're gonna talk about Echo. Alright, so the next one we got is Echo. So for Echo, the patch notes say remove the camera roll effect from Echo Sonic Blast. Construct concussion effects now last 10 seconds, not tied to anyone's movement. They changed the intensity during the collision effects, now similar to the concussion effects, and they replaced his ballistic shield with impact grenade. So basically, the effect, there's no different states if you're moving or not. It's going to have the same length of time no matter if you're moving or not. But the concussion effect got increased to 10 seconds, so you're going to be stunned for longer. It's just not going to affect you if you're moving or not. And he lost his ballistic shield and went to impacts. So how do you guys overall feel about this?
I think that Echo still got like buffed with this patch, which is crazy to think.
Mm-hmm.
Someone that's already as impressive as they are getting buffed like that.
I said this in the
On
last episode, but I still think that Echo is going to be played just as much. I don't think this is going to make any difference whatsoever. He's still way too strong. He doesn't
oh
really
yeah,
address anything.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I think he will always still be a must pick, and I think he will always be a must ban still. I think he's gonna be super super strong until as long as he could stop a plant and he could change a gunfight and has the strongest ACOG on defense. I don't think there'll ever be a time that Echo's not played. But him losing his shield makes it a little harder for you to hide with him, so maybe it could affect him a little bit.
It's
I don't
not
know.
going to affect how much he's played. It's going to affect where
No.
he's placed
Yes,
or
where
what he
he's
does in
sitting,
the
what he's
match.
doing
But
when he's live. Yes, it won't
as
affect
far
his
as his
pick rate.
pick rate, yeah, it's not going to have any impact at all.
I agree. We talked about Echo a lot in our last episode and what we expected to happen with this change. So if you want to check that out, go look at our last episode. The link's in the description and it will be popping up on screen right now. Alright, so let's move on, guys, to Finka. So if you guys didn't know what happened to Finka, there's an increase on the health you receive when you get revived from a Finka boost. So normally you get up and you have the Finka boost, and when it ends, you go down to 5 HP. Now you have the Finka boost, and when it ends, you go down to 30 HP. So how do you guys feel about this change?
I mean, it's good, but it doesn't make Finka viable enough for you to have her on your team.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it makes her ability a little bit more meaningful and makes it a little more beneficial to actually be able to get players up. Because the one thing is, why would you use the ability if you're close enough to res someone? If they're just going to only be at 5 health, why would you ever use it unless they're across the map, you know? But this actually, you get an advantage. You gain more health from actually using the ability. So it makes, you get value out of using the ability no matter what if someone's down. So it definitely gives her more reason to be picked, slightly more reason, but I don't think it will make her pick rate a lot higher. But it could help her low presence. It can make her see a little bit more play.
I think Fink has the potential to be a really good attacker. I think this is the step in the right direction. So yeah.
Definitely the right direction. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Let's move on to Callie now. Callie got a new secondary weapon. The secondary weapon is the same one that Clash has. Clash is SMG. And Callie lost her pistol that she used to have. So that is the first buff. Do you guys want to talk about that first?
Yeah, we could talk about that. Callie really needed that. I mean, don't get me wrong. The CZ is strong, but the iron
Start off
sights
the
for that,
season.
I think it was a much needed change.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it gives her an actual secondary that has a scope that you could actually use at decent range. Because the C75 at close range, when you start shooting people, that rough iron sight's just going to get all up in your face. So actually having a secondary that has a sight is going to be much more comfortable for people. I think it might help her pick rate out a little bit, but I don't know if it will make her good enough to be played. But you never know. Thatcher's ban rate is going higher and higher, so maybe there's a chance. You think this is a good secondary? You think this is a better secondary option or good enough for her to start seeing some play?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's an amazing. I honestly think it's just as good as a lot of the weaker in primaries for attackers. Yeah,
Yeah, if you're good
it's
with
a great change.
it actually gives you a way to kill people.
Yeah,
So
so
the next buff she received was her explosive lance fuse timer went from 2.5 seconds down to 1.5 seconds. And I also think this was a needed change. Her ability is still a little bit easier to bandit trick than a Thatcher EMP grenade is, but it reduces it a little bit. It makes it a little bit harder to actually be able to bandit trick or K trick a wall. So
well, it's not even just by a little bit. What was the time
it
reduction?
went from 2.5 seconds to 1.5 seconds, so it just takes off a second.
That's a pretty big change.
Yeah.
That makes
I mean,
it a lot faster. Yeah.
It does help out. It also makes it, even if they're not tricking, it makes you get the wall a second faster open, and open a second faster. So it
Yeah,
definitely,
overall, just great changes for
it's
Kelly.
needed. And then the last one, this one I don't feel like will do much, but they reduce the kick. If you're aimed in sight and you shoot a sniper shot with their sniper, if you shoot in the kick that goes up, how high it climbs up, it doesn't go up as high. Or it comes
Yeah.
down faster, I believe. Yeah, the climb
There
comes
was
About
down
time
faster.
they gave her something.
video on that, and
Mm-hmm.
it literally has no change pretty
Yeah,
much.
it's really not that meaningful at all.
They have the right idea. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe next update they'll get it right, but
I
we'll
mean,
see.
buffing Cali is something we want to see. We need some viable alternative to Thatcher. So we'll see. Maybe one day we'll get it.
Maybe one day.
Alright, so next up we're going to Cade and Nomad. So Cade and Nomad both got an alternative to their pistol, which I've been waiting for because that pistol is so tough to use. It's cool at first, like when you see it with the scope, it's like, oh, now you got a pistol that actually can see down a decent range, but it's got a lot of kick, it's all over the place, and when you get close range, when you actually want to use a pistol, it just gets rough. So Nomad now has the PRB92, which is Capital's pistol. And also, Kane now has the LFP 586, which is the revolver that Rook and Doc have. So those are the two new guns for them. How do you guys think this will affect them? Do you think people will opt to pick these guns over the scopes? The scope pistol?
Oh no, of course. I think it's a little hard when it comes to Cade because the Magnum's still a
Yeah.
horrible
Yeah.
secondary weapon,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah,
Most people
it's definitely better.
don't prefer to go with the Magnum on Rook or Docs, but I think in this case, I think it is the better option. But for Nomad especially, I think it's pretty clear cut that you want the other pistol over the scope. I think it's going to be a big change to her, and it makes it a lot easier for Nomad players.
Yeah.
We got a couple more operators left for the operator changes and move on to the other changes. So next up we got is Oryx. Like we said earlier, Oryx has a new proximity alarm and lost his bulletproof, but the other big changes that happened to him is now when he runs through walls, he only takes 5 damage instead of 10, and now he also gets angle grip added to his MP5. Do you think this will affect Oryx's play at all, Ryan?
Maybe not his play. No, I don't think it's enough to really make him amazing. But I do like the changes, and it plays into his strengths. Well, one, I mean, obviously not taking as much damage and the running to the wall. I mean, 10 was a lot. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't even worth it at that point. That's a lot of health to lose. But the angle grip in the MP5 for someone as mobile as Oryx, constantly running around. I think that is a really good change,
Yeah.
especially proximity. Yep, good changes. Not enough. I have to fall back to what I said earlier. Not enough, but hopefully we see more like this in the future. I do like what they're trying to do.
Yeah, it gives. I don't think it will affect his pick rate a lot, but it will make it more comfortable to play him. It fits
Yeah.
his role better. They're going in the right direction with him. It could up his win rate a little bit, but I don't think it'll up his pick rate. We'll see though, but I doubt that we'll see a lot more Oryxes. All right, the next one we got up is Ying, and this is the one that only affected consoles because they did not take out the Candelas for consoles until now. So Candelas on Ying went from 4 down to 3.
About time. We
You
all
ex-
saw it coming.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we all knew it was coming, but we all think it was a needed change, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ying being too oppressive and frustrating makes you want to get rid of it. Also, she's able to deal with all the ADSs, all the wall mines. It's just too much you can get rid of. All right, now let's talk about someone that might be the most exciting changes, maybe you could say, with Amaru's grappling hook. Now Amaru will no longer break the barricade until she's up against the barricade and going through that. Also, now her barricade will break hatches, so you don't have to shotgun it out beforehand. You could just instantly go up through the hatch. And when you land after the grapple hook, you can pull your gun out faster. So it just gives her a little bit of an edge when she's pulling out her gun. Do you think these changes will increase Amaru's pick rate and ranked and her win rate possibly?
I don't know.
I don't. Not really.
Yeah,
I think she still gives no utility whatsoever.
Mhm.
So I don't see that
Yeah,
pick rate of hers going anywhere.
I don't think it will improve her performance that much. I don't think it will make her that much better because I think she's still gonna lack the utility, and you're still going to. It's still very gimmicky her ability, but if Amaru gets to a state where she's actually a pickable operator, then it makes defenders always have to think about timing wise. Like, as a defender, you always generally expect certain timings. Like, oh, someone's not going to be to the roof of cafe until 20 seconds in, so I can run past the skylight for the first 20 seconds, But if Amaru gets to the point that she's good enough and picked enough, then there's a chance there's Amaru, I shouldn't do this. So it's getting used to that adjustments is why I would want to see Maru get to a spot that she's actually decently good enough to be picked. But if we see that, I don't know. I think she's more enjoyable to play now because you don't have to go and shoot out hatches. It makes it easier for you to achieve what you're trying to do. It makes it much easier to rappel into a room and get some kills if that's what your goal is. I don't know if that's still the best thing to be doing, but I think you could do it better now.
Why is it that they're focusing on Amaru so much? I feel like out of all the attackers, they're really trying to push her the most to be usable compared to the others. Someone who has such a radical ability, like a propelling into a window. I like compared to the other attackers, hasn't she like received the most changes recently?
Other attack,
Mm,
buffs?
Like
sort of.
yeah, like didn't she get like buffs the last two
I mean,
patches?
Yang got some crazy buffs last season.
True, you're right. Forgot about
You know what I
that.
mean? The secondary gadget, the gun damage, the Candela. She got a lot there. But, I mean, I don't know. It might just be just that. But they say in these patch notes their target is to change it for the casual players. And they only really see her being played in quick play. And they don't expect to increase her performance from this. They just want to increase her pick rate.
Okay, let's see.
But it might also fall in the same category, like I said. They want to make her good enough that defenders have to think about her. They have to put her into consideration. You know what I mean? When setting up, when playing your round, you have to put into consideration that what if there isn't a Morrow? And even if there's not a lot of time, if she's good enough that there's a chance she could be there, then it could change how you play. All right. All right, so now we have a couple updated changes that happened. The first one being the new attachment skins that have been added to the game. I think this is a very nice quality of life update. It gives you a little bit more customization to your guns. I would like to see more options added. You know what I mean? Why don't we have a large variety of weapon skin colors, just like we have a large variety of weapon camos?
Oh, one of the devs went on a live stream and they talked about how there's going to be like a ton of choices that we're going to be able to have in the near future. So I can't wait for that. I think weapon attachment skins is probably one of the better things that they've added.
Yeah, because
I really like it.
It's something that doesn't affect gameplay at all, but it's nice to see that they're focusing on a little bit, just because it can improve your enjoyment playing the game. Because it's, I don't know, if you just yeah, if you like to have matching skins with your gun, make it look nice. Some people enjoy that, so it adds a little bit to the game. It adds more detail.
I think the brick one that's coming in the upcoming battle pass is it doesn't showcase the attachment skins very well. I think they definitely should have put something else in the battle pass. I don't like it.
Oh,
in my opinion.
What, it doesn't show what it looks like, the preview of it?
No, I'm saying it does, but I feel like the color is very dull and there's little to none attachments or not attachments, skins, weapon skins in the game that could even go with that
Gotcha.
like color. Yeah, there's no.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
What if they just did like one of each of the base colors? Like, what if they did one black, one gray, one blue, one red, one yellow, one green?
And they should also do white.
Yeah. What do you think of that,
Very
Ryan?
close to it.
Oh, so you mean like the universal camos that you see,
Yeah.
like crimson?
Well, I think they should do like like each of the gems, like how they have the crimson, the sapphire, the ruby, all of those colors as an option.
Yeah, I think that's good. The current color palette, like, it's really boring.
Yes, they add more variety options to it, so then you can match it with your skins, or you could try mixing it up, so it gives a little bit extra to it. And the next thing we're going to talk about is the new metal detector change, which affects the metal detectors on Bank, Border, and Canal. And now metal detectors, the built-in metal detectors on the map, now plays for a 3-second alarm before stopping, and only one alarm can be played at a time. So if two people are walking through the separate parts of the metal detector, only one will go off. And there's no cooldown on the metal detector trigger. So if it ends, you can go right back through and it starts up right again.
Yeah.
So, do you guys...
I think that's a good change.
Yeah, me too. But I also, overall, though, I feel like metal detectors... on the most maps, like Canal, it's really out of the way where you can't really utilize it that much to get value out of it.
Yeah.
But a map like Bank,
I agree.
You're really, when you get hit with that metal detector, you're right in the middle of the hallway where you're really exposed, where if someone plays off of it, they could get some value out of it. So, to me, it's kind of weird how they have this feature in only a few maps, and it only really gets value in, a few situations on the maps. So I either think they could add the metal detector idea to more maps, or maybe, I don't know. I just like to see it consistency on the maps. I don't like how it's only on very few select maps. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if they should have like a couple to Villa.
Yeah, or when they remake a map, exactly, or add a new map, they should. I mean, I like the concept of them, but at the same time, it gives defenders more utility. So, I don't know. Passive utility.
Well, that and a lot of other stuff can come into like little small tweaks, like cafe and clubhouse.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah. And the final thing we're going to talk about today is our impressions of the new house map and what we think about that.
Now, why would they want to redo a map that's only going to be in casual? Like that just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand that.
I mean, I can see it though because it's been a staple of this game since the beginning. You know, what I mean, it's become an icon of this game. So I can see why they wanted to redo it to make it more enjoyable to play. Because right now, before it was horrible to play. Even in quick play, you never wanted to play because it was just so bad. But you would think if they reworked it, they would want to make it competitively viable, that it could actually get played in at least rank.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't understand. You spend your time remaking the map, which is fine, but why not make it also viable and competitive?
Hmm.
I don't understand that. Offer you, I know that you played the map. What is it like? Does the map seem like it could be something that
I
could
played it.
be put in
I played it
competitive?
too.
Yeah, like what do you think of it? Like, does it seem balanced? I don't
When
know.
me and Offer played it on Bomb, it's a little hard because I could see you possibly defending the garage site, but after that, the first floor site is so open and so hard to hold, as well as the upstairs places are still crazy hard to defend with all the windows and all the ways you can push in.
So
Yeah.
they added a lot of windows, and
I mean,
they
there's
added
a
a second story to it. Is that what they did also?
no, there was always a second floor. All the floors are the same. It's just the second floor's got a lot more
Or
hallways, and the first floor's got a lot more hallways. Yeah, if anything, they made the garage easier to defend because one of the walls that you
Yeah.
could break on the garage is indestructible now. So you can only open one wall. So now if you were to play it in a ranked setting, you really only need to bandit that one wall, arcade that one wall, and hold that. So I think defending the garage got easier with the new update, but everything else is just as hard. I think would be super attacker sided. I don't even think it'd be close. I think attackers win majority of the time. And even when me and Offer were playing the house playlist, most of the time attackers were just winning everything.
Yeah, that is very true. The upstairs objectives, I think it's just weird how they have the pink room objective
Yeah, the pink bedroom.
split with the opposite like side
Yeah, the
of
kids room.
the top floor. Yeah. No, it's not even pink and kids.
Oh,
It's pink in that
master bedroom.
in bedroom, master bedroom. Yeah, I think that's really weird.
And
I
then the
think
other
that's
one's
really
master and
weird.
kids.
Yeah. That
Gotcha.
master and kids kind of makes a little bit more sense. But I think
Yeah, that's what it was in the old one.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. So
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
no.
just
A lot of the objectives upstairs, no, even then, it's so spread apart that it's so hard
yeah.
if you were ever gonna hold all of them. There's so many ways. I think no matter what, every single one of the objectives still, besides garage, always has a window right on the objective. So if you don't have someone sitting on point watching the windows, the attackers will always be able to easily repel in, plant the bomb, and just play the windows to watch the diffuser. So having windows on every objective, plus you know, having so many ways to push in, it's always going to be attacker sided. So I don't even think with the rework it could work in ranked. I wouldn't even want it to be a ranked map. But I agree with you where you start in the first place. I wish they actually took the time to rework a, a ranked map or a map that's in casual currently that would get back into ranked. You know what I mean? Like one of the maps I would love to see is I would want to see Yacht back if they could remake that. Yacht's a map that I've definitely wanted to see remake. You know?
God, yeah.
Mhm.
And I think Fortress is still I think that could be viable for
Fortress
rank.
and map.
I don't even
I
think
want to see back.
you even have to really rework it. You could just do like a cafe clubhouse tweak and
Hmm.
Fortress would strive. It
Yeah,
really
I
would.
think they would have to remove a lot of the roof, being able to get on the roof as a defender,
Yeah.
as well
Yeah.
as I mean I don't know. It's got a lot of long corridors. It definitely does favor defenders in most situations. So it would be a little interesting to see how they would rework it. But yeah, Fortress is one I want to see. Yacht I think would be interesting to see how they could rework it. But that's what I would prefer to see over house. I don't know though.
And as well with the house rework, runouts are still something
Yeah.
that you have to deal with. Like if
Something
you
they.
spawn side street in APC,
Mhm.
it's very difficult to contest.
Yeah. They also, Ryan, in the house rework, they sealed the front door. You can't even get in the front door of the house.
Oh yeah, what that
So
I did know about.
I mean, it makes sense why they did it, so you can't rush right in. But at the same time, it's just weird saying that. So I don't know how I feel about it. I wish they actually did a map that would get into ranked, or they reworked a current ranked map. But I do want to see more maps added to the rotation. But if they remade Outback or Theme Park, I guess they already remade Theme Park, so that won't happen. If they remade Outback or Chalet, which I know Chalet they're doing next, but I would like to see Outback, Chalet, or Villa. One of them get a rework and get some updates, or maybe
I
even
could see
Bank.
a favela
The
rework
the the thing with
happening.
Vela I would never see would be it was so attacked. Every single wall on that map was breachable.
Oh no, I
You would
know.
bring a
I'm just
buck,
saying.
they would have to make a lot of walls metal. You could literally bring a buck and sledge and open up the whole entire thing. You could see from one side of the map to the other.
I think that map would need more of a Hereford based type of
Let's
rework.
not start talking
Kind of
about
like.
that map. Whew.
Well, I mean,
Why?
I know that
I don't
that
miss that map. I can tell
map
you that
is
for a fact.
that map is horrible. I really hope that they never bring that map back in the ring. That map is terrible.
Mhm.
But I don't know, because we know maps like Tower won't see a return.
Yeah. But overall, that's most of the changes that Steelways had. Alright guys, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to give us a like down below. Press subscribe and turn on post notifications if you don't want to miss any of our posts. Remember, we post this podcast every single week, as well as an additional random Siege video every Thursday. Some type of guide, something that you can learn about Siege. Check the links in the description to check out our social medias. Thank you guys so much for watching. Our playlist to all of our other podcasts are popping up the screen right now. Peace out, guys. Have a good one.